Hey ladies and gents, welcome back. This is going to be part 2 to What If Naruto Went Rogue. So, you guys hit the like goal on this video, so the like goal is just going to stay the same. Hit 100 likes and you guys will get a part 3 of this. So with that being said, make sure to check out my Discord. I'll leave a link to that in the description, and let's just do a brief recap of what actually happened in the last part. So, in the last part, Naruto basically left the village on his own, like, free will, and ended up going to the Blood Mist village. He met Zabuza and Haku there, and Zabuza kind of took Naruto under his wing before he trained with Zabuza for a few weeks to a month. I'm not exactly sure how long the time span was, but eventually they would end up going to the actual, bridge, and Zabuza fights, everything like that happens normally. Naruto actually goes, and he takes down, Sasuke, and then he loses control. He rages out with the Nine Tails chakra, going all the way up to the Four Tails state, and he even gets to the point where he nearly defeats Kakashi, but then the Nine Tails chakra kind of, recedes because Naruto's body can't really, handle the chakra itself. And in that fight, Kakashi did actually awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan. They took Naruto back to the village, and he was waking up in the actual hospital. So with that being said, let's just get into the new material of the What If. Okay, so as Naruto's waking up, he's taking in his surroundings, and he sees 3 people around him. That being Jiraiya, Kakashi, and Hiruzen. And he looks at all of them, and then his mind starts basically remembering all the things that happened. And he remembers Kakashi killing Zabuza, and then Haku. And then he remembers raging out, or even more so than what he was before. And then he just lays back down. He doesn't really need to talk to them. He knows they're not going to kill him, at least not yet. And he needs to recover his body a little bit before he decides he's going to leave again. Obviously, Naruto is planning on leaving the village once again, but Hiruzen, Kakashi, and everybody like that don't know that. They just think that Naruto is back. He's back. He's like the Nine Tails was possessing him, and now Naruto's fine. So, they let him recover. So, with Naruto recovering, it would be probably a few weeks. It would probably not actually take too long because of the Nine Tails inside of Naruto. It would actually heal him pretty decently. And once Naruto does get fully healed, he would once again leave the village. So this is about the time of a little bit, probably a week or so before the Chunin exams would start. And Naruto's going off, and he leaves the village once again, and now he has to figure out where he's going to go, what he's going to do. Because, it's kind of hard for him to decide that at this point because, he's a rogue ninja, but he's also really young. It's kind of hard to figure out what he wants to do. With Sasuke, he knew exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to go to Orochimaru so he could get stronger, and then he wanted to kill Itachi, but Naruto doesn't know what he wants to do. He just wants to he needs to figure something out. He basically can't go back to the Blood Mist village because his only really friends, actually, they're dead, and so he needs a new plan. He needs something else that he can figure out. So Naruto basically goes and sits on a rock and he thinks about this for a little bit. And he eventually decides that, what he's going to do is take revenge against the Hidden Leaf village. For everything that they put Naruto through, for everything, they killed his friends, they did this, and he just wants to take revenge on that now. So he starts forming this plan. But first, he knows for a fact that he needs to get stronger. Much stronger. He needs to be strong enough to take on Jiraiya, Hiruzen, everybody like that, all at the same time. And he remembers Kakashi, too. He's like, the Mangekyo Sharingan, eh? And Naruto goes and he starts studying. He studies about the Uchiha and the Uzumaki and basically everything in between. Learning and trying to figure out anything that he can do to basically get a little, cheat code to get stronger faster. And he comes across something. Uzumaki chakra chains. And Naruto needs to figure out how he's going to basically unlock those. Naruto continues researching until he comes across a name, Orochimaru. Naruto decides, he's like, well, he figures out from his research and knowledge and everything like that Orochimaru is this kind of researcher, experimenter who doesn't really mind experimenting on people. Naruto needs to get stronger, so maybe if he could find this Orochimaru person, he would be able to get strong enough to take down the Leaf Village. And maybe even Orochimaru would want to take down the Leaf Village for all the things that they, shoved him out of the village and everything like that. they were right to shove him out of the village, but Naruto doesn't really care because he hates the Leaf Village at this point. So Naruto goes and he tries to find one of Orochimaru's hideouts. He does manage to find a few hideouts, but none of them actually lead him to Orochimaru himself, because Orochimaru has multiple hideouts, and he can't really be at all of them at the same time. Naruto continues on walking until eventually he finds himself in a familiar place. He's kind of by the Leaf Village again. What? How did he get back here? Why did he get back to the Leaf Village? And then he sees a bunch of people running by, wearing ninja headbands, and they're all about Naruto's age, and he's like, what the hell is happening? They start actually attacking him, and Naruto's like, what are you guys doing? He defeats them, and he basically looks at them and is like, what are you guys doing? And all the basically people that are next to him are like, what do you mean, what are we doing? You're part of the Genin squads that are trying to, take place in the Chunin exams, right? Naruto's like, what the fuck? No, I'm not. What are you talking about? And they explain this to Naruto. Naruto's like, oh, I see. And he thinks this could be a good opportunity to get rid of maybe a few potential threats in the future. Mainly being Sasuke, because he remembers the power of the, basically, Sharingan, from his fight with Kakashi, who awakened the Mangekyo, and decides that he wants to get rid of him. So, as he's doing that, he goes and he finds where the remnants of Team 7 would be. When he finds them, it's basically a little bit before the start of the fight with Orochimaru. So when Naruto shows up, he starts talking to them. And Sasuke recognizes Naruto, obviously, and he gets insanely pissed, and he gets defensive, and he starts trying to fight Naruto, because Naruto at this point has actually been classified as a rogue ninja. Like, before, they didn't classify him as that yet, because they thought it was the Nine Tails control, Naruto could make it, and he could get back. But now they realize that no, Naruto is actually a rogue ninja now. So, with Naruto basically showing up, he starts fighting with Sasuke. And he's about to basically kill Sasuke because, he has that power, and he wants to basically get rid of him, but somebody stops him. It's Orochimaru, wanting to basically keep his body alive, I guess you could say. Keep his future investment. I don't know exactly how to put it. He basically saves Sasuke because he wants to take his body later on. Naruto sees this, and then he recognizes him. That's Orochimaru. And he asks Orochimaru to basically take him with him. He's an Uzumaki, and he wants to, you can experiment on me to figure out if I can unlock the Uzumaki, ceiling chains. And Orochimaru, he's like, okay, whatever. There aren't many Uzumaki left to experiment on, so hey, it would be good to have another one. But he sets a rule. You can't kill Sasuke, no matter what. Naruto accepts this, obviously, but he doesn't really care all too much because, he was basically just going to leave Orochimaru after he got the, chakra chains, so he didn't really care all too much. So Naruto went, and he followed Orochimaru back to his hideout, where the experiments would begin, where Naruto was tortured and tested and put through these different trials, seeing if anything would actually awaken the chains. Fear, excitement, something, what kind of emotion would it be? Or, would there be an emotion strong enough to be able to awaken these chakra chains inside of Naruto? And then something weird happens. One day when Orochimaru is experimenting, he decides he's going to test how the Nine Tails chakra would affect Naruto. So he does something similar to what Jiraiya did, and he weakens the seal a little bit. And Naruto starts obviously losing control because, that when he did that with Naruto, he almost immediately went to the Four Tails and almost completely killed Jiraiya. So with Naruto doing this, he goes to his Four Tails state, and he's a lot stronger than what that would be. He's not as strong as his Shippuden self when he went up against he's probably around that level, about how strong his Shippuden self would be when he first fought Orochimaru. He goes into the Four Tails state. And then the 5. And then 6. Naruto starts slowly losing more and more control. And as he's doing this, obviously Orochimaru would almost die from this battle. He'd basically be knocked out. At least he'd be incapacitated at this point. Naruto goes all the way to the 8 Tails. But then it stops. Naruto has his meeting with Minato. and he learns about basically what happened in the past with the Leaf Village, the Ninetales. And he learns everything that basically Minato told him in the first place. This changes Naruto's views a little bit on the world, because for one, he has multiple enemies now. One being this Madara guy, two obviously still being the Leaf Village. I don't think Minato showing up would really change his mind, because if anything, Minato would solidify that. He left him, sealed the Ninetales inside of him, and made him go through all this ridicule simply because he wanted to protect the fucking village. That's basically what Minato wanted. Naruto doesn't exactly appreciate that all too much. So he starts ridiculing Minato for that, obviously, but that would obviously mean he would have maybe even more hatred. It would obviously not be less towards the village at this point. So Naruto kind of just gains a new enemy, being Madara Uchiha, because, he's the entire reason that Naruto got the Ninetales sealed inside of him and his father and mother died. He might not have turned out like this if, they had been alive and the Ninetales hadn't been sealed inside of him. So, with the new enemy in mind, he started training even harder from then on. Orochimaru obviously would tighten the seal once he woke up, because Naruto would be knocked out unconscious, and he would start to be more wary of Naruto. But at the same time, he'd want to find a way to harness the power that Naruto showed. Find a way that he could do it. Kind of like how he developed curse marks and stuff like that. He wants to figure out if Naruto, or not really similar to that, but he basically wants to figure out if Naruto would be able to control even a small percentage of that chakra and how he would do it. So, as basically their training continued, Naruto would be able to control up to the Four Tails to what do you even call it? The Mark II chakra, the really dark red chakra state, but it would obviously damage his body. But he can control it without losing control after, a few years of training. So, as Naruto is basically continuing on with his training, he figures it out. Orochimaru, after certain experiments, actually allows Naruto to awaken the chakra chains, and he successfully gets them. Naruto obviously would be really excited by this, because, they're really strong. That's really good. And Naruto can also, activate his, Four Tails state, at will. Obviously, if he starts to get, really angry, he starts to lose control a little bit, but then if he, gets really mad and goes to, the 5 or 6 tail state, that's when he loses control completely. So, with that, Naruto goes, and he's really strong at this point, obviously, because, Orochimaru was giving him drugs and basically all kinds of different things at this point to basically get him stronger and maybe be able to control more and more of the Ninetales chakra. Orochimaru has honestly thought of taking his body at this point, but he decided against it. Sasuke at this point never got the curse mark, and he never actually went with Orochimaru. He's been training at the Leaf Village still. So I guess Naruto and Sasuke kind of switched places for this, except nobody really knows that. Nobody really knows what happened to Naruto. He just kind of left. He kind of disappeared. And with that happening, Naruto eventually does leave the hideout that Orochimaru basically shoved him in. And he doesn't kill Orochimaru because he thinks that Orochimaru could be a good ally in the future. He doesn't really see him as this, evil person, because at this point, Sasuke didn't want to completely destroy the village. That's part of the reason I'm trying to explain, Sasuke's motive and why he killed Orochimaru, so Naruto wouldn't actually, kill him. Because he thinks he'd be a good ally, and he'd help him, fight off the village. Hiruza never died because, Orochimaru never got his arms sealed and everything like that. None of that ever happened, simply because Naruto went with Orochimaru at this point. So, that's where I'm going to leave this part off. I'll see you guys in the next part. Like goal is 100 likes. I'll see you in the next part. Peace out. Bye.